How to program and set limits on a Dooya rechargeable motor. We start by obviously opening up the motor out of the box and the remote. We also need to remove the back panel of the remote to expose the battery section here, because there's buttons in the back that we're going to need to press, primarily this little button here with the symbol P2. Okay, we need to press that at some stage down the track. The second thing we need to do is to turn the motor on by flicking it from 0 to 1. Okay, when we do that, the motor will jog. We're going to bring your attention to this little button in here. Now you'll need a pen or a pencil or a paper clip or a screw in order to press this. But this little button here is referred to as the P1 button. Now occasionally you'll need to press this. Now we're going to press this in order to get the motor to jog. You can see the motor there did a little movement. It did a single beat. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to pair the motor to the remote. If it's a multi-channel remote, we need to select which channel. I would suggest doing all of this before you install the blinds. I would do this with the motors on the ground, because it's a lot easier than doing up a ladder. Now, in order to pair the remote with the motor, we simply need to press P2 on the back once. The motor jogged. Press it one more time. The motor beeped. Now press up. The motor jogged a third time, and the motor beeped a series of times. The motor is now paired with the remote on the assigned channel that the remote was on. So when we press up, the motor is traveling in a particular direction. We hit stop, we press down, the motor's traveling in a different direction. Now let's assume that that direction is correct. We would move on to the next step. If it's not correct, it's not traveling in the right direction when we press up or when we press down, we need to change the direction. Now in order to do that, what we need to do is refer back to the little P1 button again that's here on the motor next to the charger port. We press and hold that for 3 or 4 seconds. It jogs. Then what we need to do is we need to press the P2 button on the remote once, motor's jogging. Twice, motor beeped, down, motor jogged, and beeps a series of times. We've now changed the travel direction on the motor. So we're ready to move on to the next step. Now, I would, if I was installing a series of blinds on a multi-channel remote, I would have a marker and I would write channel 1, channel 2, channel on the motors themselves. Then I would install the blinds at this point with the motors in them in the relevant locations, and I'd leave the limit setting until the blinds are up and in position. All right, now let's assume that where the blinds are